Good morning, Standard 9th. In the first video of this chapter, I told you all that population can be turned into human resource when there is an investment made in the form of education, training, and medical care. And students, in the last class, we completed the topic education. And today we will study about health and employment. So let us start. So first, we will study about health. Now students, we all know that better health is important for human happiness and well-being. It also makes an important contribution to economic progress as healthy population live longer and are more productive. Okay, so now related to health, there are just few points given in your book. Let us have a look at those points. The first point is that health of a person helps him to realize his potential and the ability to fight illness. Now this means that if a person is healthy, then he or she has a better chance of fighting any disease. Next, point number 2. So as we have already studied that healthcare facilities are important to turn a population into an asset for a country. And so it must be taken care of. And its improvement should be one of the priorities for a country. And students, our government has initiated many policies that aims at family welfare and nutritional services, with special focus on underprivileged sections of the society, as they are the ones who are unable to afford these facilities. And in the past 50 years, India has progressed a lot in this sector, and it has built manpower required in different sectors of the country. But students, at the same time, it is very sad to know that there are many places in India which do not have these facilities. Students, there are only 381 medical colleges in the country and 301 dental colleges. And just 4 states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu have maximum number of colleges. So we can say that these facilities are not evenly distributed in the country, and there are many people who don't have access to it. Now we will study about unemployment. So let us start with the definition of this term. So students, generally we say that anybody who is not working is unemployed. But then that is not correct. Students, unemployment refers to a situation that exists when a person has the ability to work, is also willing to work, and is ready to accept the prevailing wages, but is still unable to get a job. Then that person will be termed as unemployed. So the 3 important points that you have to remember here are ability to work, willingness to work, and accepting prevailing wages. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Students, we studied about Sakal. So Sakal's mother, Sheila, she looked after household work. She was not involved in any economic activity or in any work for which she was being paid. But then, that doesn't mean that she was unemployed. Students, she wasn't working because she didn't want to. That is, she wasn't willing to work. And so, she won't be counted as unemployed. Or, let us talk about you all. So students, you all are also not working. But then again, you won't be counted as unemployed because you all are not looking for any job. Students, in your case, the process of human capital formation is going on. Remember, I told you all that population can be turned into human resource if there is an investment in the form of education, training and medical care. So you all are studying so that you all can be transformed into human resource. Also, talking about Sakal's younger siblings, they will be also not counted as unemployed. Students, the workforce population is included from 15 years to 59 years. This means that people below 15 and above 59, if not working, will not be counted as unemployed. And only people between 15 to 59 years of age will be counted as unemployed only if they fulfill the 3 conditions about which we discussed just now in the definition. Sakal's brother and sister do not fall in this age group, and so they cannot be called unemployed. So students, I hope that the meaning of this term is now clear to you all. Next, you have to study about types of unemployment. So students, you have to study about 3 different types. Number 1, seasonal unemployment. Number 2, disguised unemployment. And number 3, educated unemployment. Students, the first 2, that is seasonal and disguised, are mostly found in rural areas. And educated unemployment is most likely to be found in urban areas. Now this doesn't mean that we cannot find seasonal and disguised unemployment in urban areas or educated unemployment in rural areas. As I said, these are most likely to be found in the respective areas. So suppose in your exam, if you get a question that write about the unemployment that is found in rural areas, then you will write about seasonal and disguised. You won't write about educated. I hope it is clear to all of you. Now let us study about these one by one. First, we have to study about seasonal unemployment. So students, seasonal unemployment happens when people are not able to find jobs during some months of the year. In other words, it refers to that situation when people are out of work at particular times of the year, because the demand for labor is lower than usual time during those months. For example, there are few seasonal crops, that is crops that are grown only in a particular season. For example, rabi or the winter crops. Now farmers working for the yield of these crops would be seasonally unemployed during the other times of the year. That means when there is an off season for one crop, the farmers are unemployed as they do not get to work on the field for any other purpose. Now moving ahead to the second one. Next, we have to study about disguised unemployment. Students, disguised means hidden, or we can say changing appearance to hide one's identity. So disguised unemployment refers to a situation in which more people are engaged in a work than required. And so, even if few people will be removed from that work, then the production will not be affected. So we can say that in disguised unemployment, there are people who seems to be employed but are actually unemployed. Why? Because they are not affecting the production. They are extras. And students, this unemployment is also known as hidden unemployment. Now let us understand this with the help of an example. So suppose there are 10 members of a farmer's family and they are working on a small plot of land where only 5 are required, 5 people are required. So that means that the other 5 members are disguised unemployed. Why? Because even if those 5 members will be removed, then the production will not be affected. Those 5 members are extras. So I hope this unemployment is clear to you all. And the last one is educated unemployment. So students, when a person is educated but is still not able to find a suitable and efficient job for himself, then it is called as educated unemployment. Students, this takes place when there is lack of employment opportunities. For example, many youth with matriculation, graduation and post-graduation degrees are not able to find job. Next, we have to study about a paradoxical situation of our country. First, let us understand the meaning of this term. Students, paradox means self-contradictory statement, but in reality, it expresses a possible truth. For example, nobody goes to that shop. It's too crowded. Students, the statement here is self-contradictory, as if the shop is crowded, then that means lots of people are going. But if so many people are going, then it makes no sense to say that nobody goes there anymore. So now I hope that you have understood the meaning of this term. Now, talking about the paradoxical situation related to unemployment that exists in our country. So the statement is that there is unemployment among technically qualified people on one hand, while there is a dearth of technical skills required for economic growth on the other. So this statement outlines the unemployment crisis in our country. On one end, there are a lot of people who are unemployed due to lack of jobs. But at the same time, there exist so many jobs that are vacant. Therefore, looking at it with a simple view, one can say that there are jobs with no one to attend, while at the same time there are many people with no jobs but actively looking for one. So students, this is the paradoxical situation in our country, and now I hope that this concept is clear to you all. So that's all for today's class. Thank you, students.